Hey mamas, and welcome to the Entering Motherhood podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Marie Bilger, a wife, mom of two, VBAC mama, and doula. Here we integrate holistic mindfulness and evidence-based practices to support you on your unique motherhood journey. Whether you're trying to conceive, pregnant, newly postpartum, or supporting mamas in this stage of life, you'll feel empowered and informed as you embrace what lies ahead. Join us every episode to learn from professionals, special guests, and moms just like you, ensuring that you know what you need to know and discover things that you didn't know before. I believe in you. Let's doula this and let's navigate the transition of entering motherhood together. Hey mamas, and welcome back to another episode of Entering Motherhood. I'm Sarah Marie Bilger, a birth and postpartum doula, and I'm so excited to dive into today's topic of what to do if you unexpectedly find yourself having an out-of-hospital birth. So before we dive in, I want to just remind you that I am a certified birth and postpartum doula, but I am not a medical professional. So the information that I'm providing is solely based on my training, my experience, and more of a holistic approach to supporting birth. Be sure to consult with your personal healthcare provider for any medical advice or concerns regarding your pregnancy or birthing experience. And I just wanted to point that out and just mention that before we really dive into this episode. And with that, I want to also start by saying that I have never personally had a client who unexpectedly gave birth out of the hospital. Yet. I'll say that has never happened yet. However, I have had clients who intentionally give birth at home or out of the hospital at a birthing center. And I've also had multiple clients that have asked me, what happens if I don't make it to the hospital in time? What happens if things go really fast and we have the baby at home or, in the car? Or even what happens if we change our mind and at the last minute we decide to stay at home instead of go to the birthing center or the hospital? And all of these are super valid questions, especially for those of you, like many of my clients, are choosing to stay home as long as possible to avoid any unnecessary interventions, or you're looking to have more control over your own personal birthing experience. So if you have found yourself asking these questions, and that is why you're listening to this episode, I am so excited for you to be here. And I'm really excited that you are having these questions and digging into this information and learning the resources that you need to know in case something like this happens. Because birth is super unpredictable, and while a hospital birth might be the plan, there are times when the baby has other plans or things just move faster than expected, or maybe there is some unique circumstance that you are unable to get to the birthing location that you originally planned on going to. So today we're really going to walk through what to do if you find yourself having an unplanned out of hospital birth, and whether you're listening to this for the peace of mind or just to satisfy your curiosity, I hope this episode brings you some calm and clarity when you're looking towards your upcoming birth. And if you feel called to, please share this with a friend or share this with someone who might also benefit from this information. First and foremost, the most important thing that you can do in this situation is to stay calm. I know this can be easier said than done in all that's going on in the heat of the moment, but remember that birth is a natural process. Your body is truly designed to do this, and whether or not you have a midwife, a doctor, a doula there with you, your body knows how to bring your baby into this world and what to do. So if you find yourself and you're in labor at home and things are just progressing super quickly, take a few deep breaths, ground yourself in the moment, and know that it's okay to feel a little uncertain, but also know that birthing at home, even if it's unexpectedly, is something that women have done for centuries and still currently do actively today. And your body is fully capable of being able to birth your baby in multiple different environments. So just try to keep that in mind and stay calm and grounded. As a doula, one of the things that I always remind my clients is that their mindset plays such a huge role in how their labor progresses, just how you're preparing for labor and you're even getting to that point of birthing your baby is so crucial. So fear and stress can actually slow things down, but staying calm and trusting in your body can help labor unfold naturally. So if you're finding yourself in this situation, just remind yourself that you're safe, you're strong, and your body is doing exactly what it's meant to be doing. It also can be really helpful to create a safe and relaxing environment. This is especially important because when you're at home, you're in a space that's already super familiar and comfortable, but making sure that you are in a safe location and finding a place in your home or wherever you might be that you feel the most relaxed can be super beneficial. Try turning the lights down low, maybe light a candle or use some essential oils if you have them, encouraging yourself to stay relaxed during labor by adding, maybe relaxing music that's playing in the background or changing bits of your environment to feel more relaxed can be super beneficial in this situation. When you're in labor, you're in a very vulnerable primal state. So the more safe and secure that you feel, the smoother things are likely to go. I typically tell my clients when they are in labor to just move to a place in your home where you feel most comfortable, where you feel most safe, whether that's your bedroom or your bathroom, maybe even your living room or outside. Choose a space where you can really feel most at ease and most at peace as possible. Like I mentioned earlier too, like maybe you're finding yourself just not wanting to go to the hospital and you're looking to have an unplanned home birth, so you will. So it's seeming like you now want to stay at home. You are hesitant to go to the birthing center or the hospital, or you changed your mind and home birth is seeming like the route that you want to go. It's really important to trust your body and follow your intuition. Like I said earlier, even without a doctor or a midwife present, your body is going to know what to do. So listen to that and respond to that and discuss it with other people that are supporting you during your birth and make them aware of the feelings that you're having and what thoughts are coming up, because it can really be helpful to talk through that and figure out why that is coming up. Maybe you're just hesitant to go to the hospital because you're having a lot of fears, or you're nervous about the drive to the birthing center or the hospital or whatever it might be, and you're not confident that you'll be able to get there. Calling your provider, discussing it with the people that are around you, and just voicing those thoughts and opinions and emotions that you're experiencing can be super beneficial. And even in the moment, even when you're going through contractions, even when you're already deep into labor, this can be super beneficial to really just work through that. Sometimes you can do a lot of fear clearing in the moment, and sometimes when you really get down to the root of it, you do want to go to that birthing location. You don't want to stay at home, but you just needed to kind of talk through things. And other times, maybe you do decide, hey, I want to stay here and I don't want to go anywhere. And this feels really good and this feels really safe. So again, just trusting your body, trusting your intuition, and listening to all of the emotions and feelings that you're experiencing in the moment. And again, if labor is moving really quickly, you might not have time to think about it and all of the complicated positions and aspects of your birth that you really want it to put together, the twinkle lights or whatever it might be, or just taking a shower or something like that. You are just progressing through labor super, super quickly, and you're just experiencing things going a different way than you had planned. Trust your body and trust what it's telling you. If you feel the urge to move or change positions, do what's right for you in that moment. You might want to squat, get down on all fours, lie on your side. These positions can be super helpful in helping the baby descend and encouraging your body to work alongside gravity and make things move along more smoothly. The different feelings and emotions and intuition that you are having is super valid and all a part of your birthing experience and your birth story, and is just all coming together. So just remember that. One of the wonderful things about birth is how intuitive it can really be if we let it. So if you're listening to this right now and you're feeling a bit anxious about the thought of giving birth at home, or accidentally having a car birth, or whatever it might be, you're not getting to your birthing location in time, you're nervous about going to the birthing location, you are just having a lot of fear and anxiety circling around this whole conversation, I just want to assure you that women give birth at home every single day and everything happens for a reason. So if you do find yourself in that rare occurrence where you are having an unexpected out of hospital birth, it's all going to be okay. You will be able to contact medical professionals if needed. And this is why we're having the conversation. This is why we're talking about it and going through these emotions and going through these questions and opening up the conversation so that you can feel more at ease, so that if these questions are coming up for you and if you're feeling like this is one thing that's hanging over your head and really causing a lot of fear, reach out to me if that's something that you're interested in doing. I'm available to have conversations like this to really help you work through these fears and these emotions and the things that you're going through. Or if you have a doula, mention this to them. Even your provider, whatever you're kind of feeling and going through, talk to somebody about, really open up and continue to have this conversation outside of this podcast episode, in real life. And I encourage you to continue to talk about those things that are on your heart, in your mind, going on maybe internally. Find somebody that you can trust and open up with and really dig into those hard conversations and the feelings that you're having. Because I'll tell you, once you really start opening up and you start learning about this stuff and you start asking those questions and finding episodes like this and listening to people talk about these rare occurrences or these situations, it really just helps ease all of that and helps you feel more prepared for what's ahead, because you have the evidence to pull from, you have the information to go off of, and you have that reassurance that it's going to work out the way that it's meant to, and you'll be able to figure it out. It's also super important to point out that if you have a partner or someone with you during this time, their role is super simple. If you are a partner and you're listening to this, or your partner sent this to you and they really want you to know this information and learn this information, their role is super, super simple. Their role is to support you, not to control the situation. They don't need to have it all figured out. They don't need to be an expert. They don't need to manage the situation. The best thing that they can do is to be present and offer that emotional and physical comfort and support for you. Partners can help by holding your hand, massaging your back, or just reminding you to take deep breaths. Simple things like offering you sips of water or helping you into a more comfortable position. These little things can make a huge difference. And honestly, sometimes just hearing your partner say something like, "You're doing amazing," or "I'm here with you," is all that you need to really center yourself and ground yourself in the moment and know that you are safe and comforted and supported. And again, as a doula, I see this over and over again. The power of a calm and supportive presence is so key. So it doesn't matter if they have no idea what's going on medically, simply just being there is more than enough. And when it does come time to deliver your baby, no matter where you're at, just remember that slow and calm is so key. There's no need to rush. If the head is crowning and you're feeling that urge to push, just take a deep breath. Slow breaths are really going to help let that baby come down gradually. This also can reduce the chances of tearing and allows for you to stretch naturally. Sometimes the body will even push baby out without you having to push at all. So if you are finding yourself in that situation, if you are at home and you're noticing baby is coming out, or if you are still in the car on the way to your birthing center, just breathe and trust your body and let your body lead. You will get to where you need to go, or you will remain at home and figure out what the next steps are as you continue to go through this process. And with that, like once the baby's here, you just want to place them directly on your chest or keep them in a safe space. Skin to skin is going to be best if this is possible. And really just making sure that you're regulating their body temperature, bonding with them, and helping them to take those first few breaths, really just stimulating them and helping them adjust to this new world and this new environment. If the baby isn't crying right away, don't panic. You can do things like rub their back or on their feet, just doing different things to maneuver them around. And it's okay if it takes a few moments for them to adjust to the outside world. Most of the time it does take a few moments, and they are just kind of coming into this world and feeling it out. Also, if you're not able to cut the cord right away, that's fine too. Delayed cord clamping is super common, and it's actually really beneficial for the baby. It allows more blood and nutrients to pass through from the placenta. And even if you wait until a medical team shows up, if that's what you're planning on, or you transfer to your birthing location, the hospital, a birth center, wherever you were originally planning on going, that's fine too. Just continue to hold your baby, keep them safe, and keeping them attached with the umbilical cord is perfectly fine. That umbilical cord on the other end, one end is baby, the other end is your placenta. Getting familiar with the placenta, what you're planning on doing with your placenta afterwards, everything like that could be super helpful in preparing for a situation like this as well. The placenta usually follows within 5 to 30 minutes. It starts to release, it starts to come out, and you also are birthing the placenta. Let it come out on its own. There's no need to be pulling the umbilical cord or rushing the process. While you're waiting, stay in a comfortable position. Continue to hold your baby. Just rest, relax. You just did so much work, and you might just want to monitor any bleeding that's happening. You can use towels or pads and just track how much blood is being lost. You don't need to be specific or anything. You don't need to weigh it or collect it or keep it. Just kind of be aware of how much bleeding there is. And once the placenta is out, just keep resting and focusing on bonding with your baby. It's best to just remain calm and present during this time and really just acknowledge what just happened and process what went on. So while home births or out of hospital births can be a very beautiful and peaceful experiences, it's important to know when you need to seek medical help. Like I said, you're monitoring the bleeding, you're looking at the bleeding. If there is an excessive amount of bleeding, if your baby isn't responding well after a few moments, if the placenta doesn't come out after an extended period of time, it's really time to call for assistance. And remember that there's no shame in reaching out for help. It's just another layer of support to ensure that you and your baby are safe. If home birth was absolutely not the original plan at all and baby is now here, or even if you are still in labor, but you are absolutely sure that you are not going to be able to make it to the birthing location, or like I mentioned before, you're on the road, you're having that car baby that people have heard about potentially happening, then call your provider as soon as possible and let them know what your situation is. If you are unable to call, have your partner call or whoever is with you, supporting you in that moment, and create a plan moving forward. They might suggest that you stay at home until the baby is born so it isn't a car baby, or you are in a safer environment, or they are going to send an ambulance. There's going to be a conversation that can be had in the moment with your specific situation. A plan will be created. They might wait for you at the hospital and be right at the door as soon as you show up. So really just nailing down what this plan is, talking with your birth team, figuring out that path moving forward. Even in these unexpected moments and rare situations, there is an answer and you will get the help that you seek, and a plan can be formed moving forward at that time. Your birth team is going to be able to act on this. They are going to be able to point you in the direction that is best suited for your unique situation, and it's going to get figured out. I promise you. There will be an answer and a path moving forward and a plan made in all different unique situations. So just remember along the way to embrace the experience. An unexpected out of hospital birth can feel super overwhelming, but it also can be a super powerful and beautiful moment. You just brought your baby into the world in this raw, natural way, and really just taking a moment to honor your strength and resilience is so crucial and really helpful. At the end of the day, you did something really amazing, and this will be how you remember their birth. So if this situation ever does end up happening to you, know that you're capable. Your body is so wise. And this experience will be a story that you and your family have to remember for years to come. A lot of the times, the clients that are asking about these situations and scenarios are saying, like, what kind of supplies do I need at home? Having that like emergency situation supply kit is something that maybe is interesting to you. And honestly, you don't actually need much. If you find yourself in this situation, if you find yourself having an unexpected out of hospital birth, you can always just grab a few basics. Clean towels are always going to be super, super helpful. They can be used to catch the baby, wrap them up afterwards, used as a way of collecting any fluids or afterbirth that is happening, and even using blankets or sheets to lie on or sit on if you're worried about furniture or rugs or flooring or anything, or the inside of your car. If you're planning on getting in the car and you want to lay down some towels, that can be super helpful in making sure that the interior of your car remains intact and till you get to the birthing location. Going back to the cord again, as far as supplies, like I mentioned before, you don't need to do anything immediately. That delayed cord clamping is a practice that actually is really beneficial for the baby and is commonly done even in a hospital setting. So you can wait until the placenta is delivered. You can wait until a medical team arrives. But if you do want to tie it off, having a clean string or even a shoelace in your bag, in your go bag, can be helpful. Or even just pieces of fabric that are clean can be helpful to tie the cord. Having sterilized scissors or a knife on hand can be helpful for cutting the cord. If that is something that you feel you need to prepare for and have on hand, those are the supplies that you're really going to be focusing on. You don't have to rush this part. The placenta will usually come out naturally, and you can just remain focused on resting and bonding with your baby during this time. If you really want to feel super prepared, you can look and see if you can get your hands on an emergency medical kit that is specific for these situations. It usually has an umbilical cord clamp, gloves, sterilized pads, and one of those bulb syringes to use when baby comes out. There are tools out there, there are resources out there, there are put together kits for you, but those are the main things that you're really going to need if this kind of situation does arise. And again, looking at how to tell if your baby is healthy and doing well right afterwards. Maybe you're thinking like, how do I even know if my baby's okay? And will I know if my baby's okay? I think, again, this goes into our intuition, our motherly instincts. If something feels off, just know that those are very true feelings. If you feel like everything is fine, then also lean into that and trust in that. If your baby is crying or making noise, that's a really great first sign. If they are changing in color, maybe when they first come out, they are blue, but they start to turn pink and they are beginning to take those first breaths and really do well with their breathing. You can also check for good muscle tone and strength. If your baby is a little floppy at first, they should start moving around and flexing their arms and legs within a few minutes. If you're concerned about their breathing, gently rub their back and stimulate their feet. This will usually help with most babies. They are typically fine without any immediate intervention. Lean into that mother intuition. If something doesn't feel right, don't hesitate to call for medical help if you have not done so already. And if you notice that anything feels off, just be sure to point that out and mention that to the medical team when they arrive or you are with them. And just to kind of add on to the bleeding afterwards too, sometimes I'll have clients say like, how do I know if the bleeding is too much? Even when we're at the hospital or a birthing center, this is something that can come up. So knowing kind of what that level of bleeding is normal and what bleeding should be like after your baby is out. Bleeding is completely normal and is something that is a sign of your body doing what it needs to do. It's your body's way of shedding that lining of the uterus and returning back to its original state. But just keeping an eye on how much blood you are losing. A general rule to really focus on is if you're soaking through more than one pad or a towel within an hour, or if you're seeing large blood clots. Maybe even if you're feeling weak or faint, or the blood loss seems to be increasing rather than slowing down. These are a few things to take note of, and it's important to seek medical attention at that time. So you can typically slow bleeding down by lying down and elevating your feet. You can also massage your belly just above the pubic bone where the uterus is. This is something that a lot of the times they're doing in the hospital. You can do this wherever you are at, and just massaging that area. This helps your uterus contract, and it typically helps in reducing bleeding. If there's that excessive bleeding, though, this is known as postpartum hemorrhage. Maybe you've heard of that term before, and it can be caused by the uterus not contracting properly, also retained placenta. There could be tears in the birth canal, or there is some sort of clotting disorder. So excessive bleeding is something that needs to be addressed by medical professionals. Other causes of this postpartum hemorrhage can be uterine rupture, infection, or an overly stretched uterus. So just be aware of that, be knowledgeable about this, and be paying close attention to the amount of bleeding that is occurring after birth. Let's say all of this happens when you are completely alone, you go into labor and you are alone. Just know that while it's reassuring to have somebody there with you, try not to panic if you are by yourself at that time. If you are able to and would like to, call for emergency services or call a trusted person that can come and support you and knows where you're at. Make sure you let them know what is happening, what you're experiencing, where you are located, and just follow these same steps that we've talked about. Stay calm, focus on your breathing, and just trust your body. Maybe you want to move to a more comfortable space, grab some towels, have some water nearby, and if you are feeling that urge to push, just listen to your body, and as soon as that baby is born, place them on your chest, have skin to skin, and just remember these things that we have talked about so far. You got this, your body's got this, and you are going to get the help that you need. So if you're able to, like I said, call your birth team, call medical support, or just lean into the experience in the moment. I also have had clients ask, what if I plan to get the epidural or some other form of pain relief at the hospital and now I'm home? So, of course, if you are having this unexpected out-of-hospital birth, there won't be medical pain relief and you won't be able to get an epidural, but there are still plenty of natural ways that you can manage your pain during labor. So moving into different positions can be super helpful. Squatting, hands and knees, lying on your side, just moving your body, dancing if that's something that you are interested in doing. Also having water or taking a bath or a shower can usually help a lot of the time to just help soothe and work through those contractions. Don't forget about breathing techniques. Deep breathing, rhythmic breathing, all of those things can be super helpful and get you through very intense moments. Vocalizing, moaning, or even just a low humming sound can help release that tension that you're having in the body. So maybe practice just a few of these pain relief techniques. This can be super beneficial if the epidural isn't effective as well. If you are planning on having an epidural, it's not always a sure, safe thing. So just having a few of these techniques in your back pocket can be super beneficial when preparing for birth. And we already talked about some of these emergency situations, but a lot of times people are saying, what happens if something goes wrong? What happens if I'm in this situation and I need immediate attention? While most births, even in this rare occurrence, are going to be safe, there are some signs to look out for that would require medical attention more quickly. So we talked about the bleeding, Another thing could be the baby isn't breathing well on their own, or they're not as responsive as you are wanting them to be. You'll also want to be super mindful of any maternal distress, such as dizziness, fainting, feeling disoriented. That's something to look out for. It's important to call for help immediately in these situations, and it's better to veer on the side of caution. But honestly, just rolling through the emotions, staying calm, being aware of the moment, and fully releasing into the experience may just be the best thing for you. And like I already said before, it will probably make a pretty interesting birth story. So while emergency situations do happen, they are rare, and that's why you are preparing for it. That's why you're finding out this information. That's why you're gaining knowledge and being resourceful in your preparation for your birth. Before we wrap up, I just want to answer 3 more frequently asked questions that I do hear from clients about home birth, especially these unexpected out of hospital situations. And number 1 is, how long should I wait before going to the hospital after an unexpected out of hospital birth? And again, just reiterating this, that it's perfectly fine to stay home for a bit. It's perfectly fine to stay at whatever location you are at. And as long as you and baby are doing well, it's perfectly fine to stay home and just keep doing what you're doing in the moment. If you feel more comfortable going and getting checked out, head to your local hospital afterwards. Maybe even waiting until after the placenta is delivered and your bleeding is under control is going to be your best bet. Number 2 would be, do I need to sterilize something to cut the cord? Ideally, yes, if you are getting one of those emergency kits beforehand, if you are able to sterilize scissors or a knife, this would just be boiling them for 5 to 10 minutes and keeping them somewhere clean. You can utilize them, but again, there's no rush to do this. Even if immediately afterwards you go and boil some scissors that you can utilize to cut the cord right after baby is born or as baby is coming, this is perfectly fine. You can also just leave the cord intact until a medical team or a professional arrives. And number 3, I usually get asked, what about the cleanup? I get questions about, what about the mess? What is it like? What is afterbirth like? How are we able to clean this up? And usually just having some towels on hand, even some sheets to soak up the fluids or help wrap the baby, that's really all you need. You can just wash everything later. Your focus should just be on resting and bonding with your baby. If there are people supporting you and around you, having them go grab towels or sheets or keeping them somewhere that they are clean and prepped beforehand in case of this sort of situation can be super beneficial. So thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope that this brought you some reassurance and insight into what you need to do if you ever find yourself in this situation, if you find yourself having that unexpected out of hospital birth. If you have any questions or you have a story about this kind of situation, you had an unexpected out of hospital birth, then be sure to message me, email me, reach out to me on Instagram. You can send me an email, follow the links in the show notes, and let me know your story. Let me know what questions you have. Let me know if this was helpful. And really just feel free to reach out to me. And remember that birth is a natural process, and no matter where or how it happened, you are strong and capable and powerful. So see you later, mamas. Thank you, mamas, so much for listening. Remember, you are a rock star. I believe in you. Let's doula this. Let's crank it up a notch and let's kick it into high gear together. Hit that subscribe button, share this episode with a friend, message me, email me, call me, beat me. You know how to reach me. We're doing this, mamas. I am so excited to catch you here next week. This is your one-stop go-to place for helping you find the resources you need to make the best choices for you and your family during pregnancy, birth, and most importantly, postpartum. See you later, mamas.